Okay, so the last class, I think we have come across how to convert an epsilon NFA into DFA. So this is the assignment problem which I'm giving to you. Assignment problems I'll give you as a Word file at the end of this module, or else by today or tomorrow you can do that. So just take it down, take a screenshot so that you can solve it. If you have any problems, you can ask me in the next class. So this is your assignment problem for today. Try to convert this epsilon NFA into DFA. So if you don't understand how to do this, I have given my video in the class group. I mean, in the Google Classroom. Please go through that and then solve this problem. Okay. So there is a theorem for today. Don't expect always problems will be asked in automata question paper. You may also get theorems as well. So we know that for every NFA that exists, so we had an equivalent DFSL. So this is what the theorem says. Since practically we cannot implement non-deterministic machines, we are converting them into DFSM. So that this theorem says you that if an NFA exists, obviously an equivalent DFA of that exists. That's what, if there exists NFA, NDFSM non-deterministic machine I will represent like Mn. Earlier we used to represent with M is equal to, here I represent Mn, where Mn represents your non-deterministic finite automata. Fine. So the same combinations of number of states, input symbols, transition function of NFA, start state is the start state, so I don't mention N for that, final state of NFA. Okay, which accepts the language, any language which is acceptable by an NFA machine is, if NFA machine is Mn, the language accepted by Mn is L of Mn. What is that? The language accepted by that machine is L of Mn. So there exists an equivalent to DFA, the same representation I have written like this, DFA machine, MD, which is equivalent to the language accepted by NFA, because we know that any NFA language, I can also construct a DFA for that language, right? Since we had a conversion, we had seen two methods, subset construction method and lazy evaluation method. Now, how can I represent it? How do you represent that a language is accepted? Any input string. What do you mean by del D star is that star represents that transition function, that cap, del cap or del star, both are same. So here it represents the transition function. I'm applying the transition function on the string W from Q naught. Definitely out of this, I may reach a state. That state is a final state. So that is equal to del n star of Q naught comma W. What did you understood that here is, if it is reaching the final state, then the W is accepted by DFA. That string is accepted by that machine. Here also that string is accepted by the NFA. This is the proof. This is the statement I can say. Now to parameters. One is the basic condition has to be satisfied. The next is the induction of that, means the size of the input will be more, the complexity increases. So initially the basis is when I consider nothing as my string, even that time, uh, see at a time I cannot impose the complete string into. First of all, I just worry about what could be the minimal string, that is called basis. I have been talking about W, right? Here I have to provide the length of the W. When there is no length also, it has to be acceptable. When there is a length given to you, W length given to you, that time also it has to be acceptable. So consider the string W basis, right? I have given minimal length, very minimal length for the W is epsilon only, no input. So then what is the length of W when epsilon is there? Empty input, 0. Empty input, 0. So that I have to apply the empty input over Q naught with DFA machine as well with the NFA machine. Okay, that's what I'm doing that here. Del D star means I'm applying the transition function of DFA. So starting state Q naught, my epsilon, no input I have given. So when I didn't give any input, I will be in the same state, right? So could be in NFA also, because I'm not talking about epsilon NFA here. Epsilon NFA means there is a transition for epsilon also. But NFA never had a transition. DFA, NFA don't have a transition over epsilon symbols. One second. Will be in the same state called Q naught state. So this is also same right now. For the basic condition is satisfied, right? Both are equal. This is also Q naught. This is also Q naught. So when W equal to epsilon, the basis got proved. So now later I will provide some input to W, means some length. So that is called your induction hypothesis. What is that? Induction hypothesis. I will induce some length over the string. So now you assume that. So initially I'm assuming that the transition function of DFA over an input called W, input string called W, which is equivalent to the transition function of NFA over the input called W. Here, the term represents it will reach a state by the time acceptable state, and that is also equivalent to that final state. Here, what I'm doing is I'm just having the length of W with n plus 1, could be n or n plus 1. I have taken it as the length of the W as n plus 1. In basis, we have taken epsilon. So that induction hypothesis, you know that it's an supposition, means called assumption. Suppose if it is same, what I have to do? So that's why it is induction hypothesis. Hypothesis means assumption. Initially I assumed that the language accepted by DFA, which is equal to the language accepted by NFA. Then I have to prove it, my induction proof, right? So I have taken n plus 1 length of the string. Now I'm giving you the string, something called W equal to XA. Looking at that, you can say that where X is the string, A is the input alphabet, I mean one length. So X is of the length N and A is of the length 1. So that what you say the whole overall length of W is N plus 1 length. A is the last symbol of W. A is the last symbol of W, only one symbol. X possesses n number of items, so that X is the remaining string of W. So the remaining string of W, X, contains n length, that is n. Length of X is n, and the length of XA is n plus 1, because that 1 has occurred because of that one symbol at the end symbol A. Any doubt till now?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Fine. So by the extended definition, now we had a string called W equal to n XA, which length is n plus 1. Now this I have to apply to my NFA as well the DFA transitions. Let me start with NFA. How do you write the transition function of NFA? Del n star of. So start your travel from Q naught, comma W. How do you write this? Where W equal to XA, right? I have written that. W equal to XA. See, A is the last symbol. A is the last symbol. X is the string actually. Let me rewrite that. Del n, see, you should know one thing, terminology here. Why del n star here? Why del n here? Del n star represents transition function. It is going to be applied n number of times, 0 or more number of times, because X is a string. At a time I cannot apply, right? One by one symbol I will apply. From Q naught, the states may change. It may go to Q1, Q2, Q3 like that, because X is a string, not a single alphabet. Once I come to know that the end state of this transition function, I am going to apply the transition function only once. Suppose this del n star of Q naught comma X is going to result with Q5. For example, it is going to result with the state Q5 after applying 5 times. So for the Q5, you're going to apply the A only once because A is the only symbol. That's why it is del n. Only once the transition function is going to be applied. So while you're writing, you should know clearly about the terminologies. Fine. Now, they're in depth going further. They're defining X now. Let the states of the machine be Pi, Pj, Pk. So once if I do this, that's what I told you. Because X is a string, I may have these many states while I'm applying the string. Initially, I may go from Q0 to Pi, then Pj, then P, etc., till Pk. So then what I can write is, for X, this is the, so this is the value for del n star of Q0 comma X. Just apply that in equation number 1. Del n has to be having a transition over A. What if there is a transition from Pi to, for example, we have Q0, Q1, two states, so that you have to apply the input A. First you will apply Q0 A, then you will apply Q1 A, right? With unions. That is what I have done. A union and then till Pk comma A. So this is the output I got out of my NDFSM. Out of my NDFSM. The same thing I have to get out of my DFA also. The same thing I have done, but only difference is instead of del n star, please use del d star. Del d star. Same thing. XA and then Q0 comma X at a time. Because it's a string, later I will apply the input A. The string is nothing but Pi, Pj, Pk, so that I'll write it that, and then each time I will apply the input A to each state. So this is my equation number 4. So when you look at your equation number 2 and 4, 2 is the result of your NFSM, 4 is the result of your DFSM. If you look at that, by comparing these two relations, I just come to know that both are same. So that I can hence the proof with the statement L of Mn, where the language accepted by the machine, NFA machine, equal to the language accepted by the DFA machine. So like this, I think this is also one of the important theorem, has been asked so many times in the examination. Any doubts in the theorem?
No, ma'am.
So the next concept is about your equivalence of how the, see, before going to that, it's about minimization of DFA. Why we have to minimize our deterministic finite state machine? See, one thing is very sure, anything over the space, if you have more number of states in DFA, for example, consider 16 states, 20 states. Think about in your next semester, you're going to write the coding for compiler design, where the basis is the automata theory. For every state here is a, see, just for constructing, for acceptance of any language, if you write a code for that, anything, so all these programmable languages, even automata theory concepts are used in programming languages to construct the compiler, to design the compiler programming way. See, if this is the case, when you have n number of states, where the number of states are becoming more, the space complexity increases. Not only time, the space complexity mainly. Since the space is proportional to the number of states of DFA. So if your DFA states increases, the space consumed by the program is also increases. Every state you need to write a program, you need to write a code. What if there is a transition over A? What if there is a transition over B? What if there is no transition? For everything, you need to write the coding. Could be C language, C++ language, anything. Storage efficiency is the biggest issue here. So that we had come under some situation where we can minimize the number of states of DFA. What we can do here is minimize the number of states of DFA. I hope you understood why the concept has been introduced, why we have to minimize the finite state machines, states. So how you can achieve this? So you can achieve this by finding distinguishable and indistinguishable states. What is that? Indistinguishable. Distinguishable means what? You can have a differentiation between classes, right? Sorry, a differentiation between states. If the two states are different, then you cannot minimize. So one thing we are sure, the distinguishable states cannot be minimized. What about indistinguishable states? Indistinguishable, the word itself says you cannot differentiate them. Means they both are same states. Probably they have the same features, same properties, same identity. So indistinguishable states only, we are going to minimize them. Okay. So when we can say that the states are equivalent states are indistinguishable states. Equivalent states are indistinguishable states, right? When do you say that both are equivalent, or when do you say both are not equivalent? See, for example, I have set of states from A to F, for example. In that, B is a final state and F is also final state. Then I can say that B and F are indistinguishable states. Do you agree? Because both are final states. Yes. So here, I have to first identify my indistinguishable states, because equivalent states, then I will try to find how I can minimize it. I cannot do anything with distinguishable states. Distinguishable states are separate states. I have to maintain them because I don't have any similar property to minimize them. So indistinguishable states can be reduced. Equivalent states can be reduced. Indistinguishable states. Okay, there are two states called P and Q of a DFSM. As what I told you, instead of Q0, Q1, I have two states called P and Q. These are equivalent states, means indistinguishable states. When I applied my transition function over P as well Q, means I am going to provide a string to both the states, P as well Q. If both are final states, means there is a property here, P is also a final, this will give me an answer that state is also final state. This will give me an answer that state is also final state, right? If any two states you are comparing, if both the states are final states, then also both are equivalent. If both are not final states, then also it is equivalent. So when do we say indistinguishable? We cannot separate them. We cannot distinguish them. Indistinguishable means both the states, I'm comparing two states, both are final states or both are non-final states, then it is indistinguishable. When it is distinguishable, then one final, one more is non-final. Clear? And keep one thing in your mind, I don't disturb an distinguishable state. I will minimize only indistinguishable states. Is there any doubt till now?
No, ma'am.
Fine. I will stop it here for this class because there are two methods in minimizing DFSM. One is table filling algorithm and one more is the It's a general method. I can tell you. Length of the problem is more. I think I cannot cover it within half an hour. So I will do this in a fresh class. 1 second.